housekeeping issue. Anyone watching this on a laptop, if you could please mute your microphone so we don't get any feedback. First of all, my name is Trevor. I'm the Lifestyle Director at Trilogy Lake Norman. A quick apology. We did a dry run-through of this last night at 6 p.m. Everything seemed to be working. However, the HDMI input on our camera has a couple bent pins. So unfortunately, we aren't unable to have a live camera. However, we've done the next best thing. You will be able to hear Susan. Of course, you can hear me. You'll be able to hear live questions in the room. And we also have a PowerPoint presentation and several photos that you can watch on your screen. Orlando, are you seeing any of the presentation yet on the screen?
We are not.
And Christopher is calling you right now.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started because you can hear us and we can actually see you. And like I said, we are recording this, so we can go back and we can send any of the PowerPoint presentations to the lifestyle directors as well, if you want to follow up with that.
And the video, too.
Okay, so without further ado, once again, my name is Trevor, the Lifestyle Director here at Trilogy Lake Norman. I just want to welcome all the communities that are joining us. It's 2 o'clock here. I know it's probably also 2 o'clock in Orlando, so I'm sure you're able to enjoy some wine if you have some there. I see Trilogy and Cantera just joined us up there, if I'm looking at my screen. So those of you in Arizona, it's noon. Anybody in California? I don't know if we have Monarch Dunes with us or not, but it's 11 a.m., hopefully not too early for you to have some wine with us. Okay. So today we have Susan Nido from Nido, Italy, and she will be presenting the Venetian Splendors, one of our Explore 360 trips this year. So if you can please give a warm welcome to Susan Nido.
Is it on? Can you? Thanks, Trevor. Can you guys all hear me okay? Thumbs up at the other communities? Is it good? Hello, we're good? Okay, great. I just want to say thank you to Trevor. Also, thank you to Sarah Rainey for just seeing the vision and knowing that the philosophy of Trilogy Communities and Nido, Italy is very much in alignment with each other. And just thank you so much to all the Trilogy lifestyle directors. You guys really make the community what it is at each of the communities, and for taking the time to make this event happen this afternoon. It really means a lot. I know we've got a beautiful sunny day here in Charlotte, no clouds, 55 degrees, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we've got people here. So thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. And you're all here to learn a little bit about Italy. But first I'd like to just tell you a little bit about myself. As Trevor said, I'm Susan Nido. I moved to Charlotte 21 years ago with my husband, our 3 daughters. We have girls that are 25, 30, and 32, and I'm a grandma of 2 cute little ones. And I also live in a Shea home. So that's kind of, I think, fun for me to be here with you guys as these communities have all started to develop. I love my Shea home. When we all first moved in, I knew the guys that started here in the community, and so we were in actually the first neighborhood that Shea developed, and we're still living in our house, and it's still great. So you guys are in a really nice house. And then of course now I'm jealous because I come up here to Trilogy Lake Norman, and the community that's been created is fantastic. So many thanks to everybody for hosting this all over the country. Big thank you to Tia, who's not here at the moment, but she prepared some wonderful things again. And to all the people at all the other communities that took the time to prepare for your members to make them warm and welcoming, and it's what you guys do best. So that's why we feel like Nido, Italy and Trilogy is a good matchup, because we really are welcoming, and we really try to make community along with our clients with what we do with our tours. So a little bit about extending for myself. When Mike and I, let's see, it was 2007, our daughters gave us an anniversary gift, which was a cooking class with Nata Virgili. At the time, she was doing cooking classes and Italian lessons, and she had only taken just a handful of people over to Italy at that point. So we had a cooking class, and that was my first encounter with Nido. So we absolutely loved her. I followed her. Mike and I just thought that the fact that she was sharing her Italian heritage with everybody was really something special. So fast forward, now I am working with Nido's Italy as a journey expert, helping all of you pick the best tour for your experience, the one that you want. And right now, as Trevor and Sarah both said, we are promoting the Venetian Splendors tour. It's a really sweet tour. But to give you just a little background on Nido real quick, she did not intend to build a tour company. She came to the United States following her boyfriend, who was half Italian, half American, came here, and they got married. Unfortunately, after a few years, that didn't last, but she stayed in Charlotte, making a home. And there you go, you can see Nido right here. Stayed in Charlotte and developed a following. She shared her love of Italy through cooking and Italian lessons. And from there, the tour company was born. People said, listen, you've taught us how to cook. You've taught us how to talk. Take us back and show us Italy, your Italy. And she's from Tuscany, specifically Florence. So that's where she grew up. And so the first tour was taking people back to the wine food traditions of Tuscany tour. And it's just blossomed ever since then. People went on one tour, and then they said, okay, take us to another region. Let's go on another tour. So actually, the Venetian Splendors is the second tour that she created. So it's one of her favorites. And one of the hallmarks of our tours, before I get into the specifics of this one, there's a few things. And the other thing I guess I should say as we go forward, I can talk, and I'm going to keep talking about the tour and Nido's Italy a little bit, but as you guys have questions along the way, in just a little while, the ones that we can't hear from, you're welcome to, what are we going to do, text them, Trevor? Do they text? Okay, so hopefully you guys can just, raise a hand up, and if you have a question, I can see you, you can't see me, so we'll go a little bit and then see if we have questions. But this particular tour, first of all, it's kind of fun for me. How many of you have been to Italy before? Raise your hands. Yay, what about in here? Okay, good. Well, I'm half Italian. I'm half Italian, half German, and I think the Italian side just kind of took over. And for people that aren't Italian, they're the wannabes that go to Italy. The Venetian Splendors tour is a really nice tour. It starts off, you fly into... let me backtrack because I was going to tell you a couple things about Nido's Italy, the hallmarks of our trips first real quick. Boutique hotels. We only stay in boutique hotels. Typically, they're family run, and they really pay attention to detail. Nido has hand-bedded out each of the restaurants, the hotels, the excursions. All our tours are fully guided with the tour leader. We also have regional guides along the way, so when you're experiencing things along the way, the regional guides are there to help you, as well as the tour leader. All of your transportation when you are on the tour is there for you. You get to know the driver. They're with you the entire time. They take care of everything. And there's a nice pace throughout our tours. When we have excursions or activities, it's a nice balance then so that another part of the day isn't so busy and it's yours. So I think that really means a lot. You don't finish our tours and necessarily need to come back home for a vacation because we've had you running ragged. Nido takes the time to really plan the trip so that you are immersed into the culture. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we really focus on. Just like you guys, La Dolce Vita, that's the tour that we had last year for you guys, was La Dolce Vita. But living the good life and really taking the time to soak it in. So you're not sitting there with a checklist of things to see and to do and getting it off your list that you did it. You really experienced it. All of our tours have cooking classes, winery tours, wine tastings, and they're all pertinent to the region that you're visiting. So the different wine varietals in each region are focused on, and that's the winery that we visit. There's a nice blend of history, obviously the culinary aspect, and just the surroundings, the topography, and the history of where you're visiting. And our tour leaders are so knowledgeable. They become your friend, and we'll talk more about that. But so far, that's just a little bit. That's just a little snippet of what Not as Italy tours are, and we're really proud of that. We're proud of the detail that we put into each and every client, each and every tour. So the Venetian Splendors tour, what you're seeing now on your screen, are photos from the tour. It's pretty spectacular. This, in general, is one of the most diverse tours, if you will, that we have as far as touching other countries, as far as what you see for architecture and what you experience in food. And the reason for that is Lake Garda, when you come in on this tour, you are flown into Venice, you go into Venice, and everybody leaves in and goes up to Lake Garda right away. So your first night is up in Lake Garda. You'll spend 6 nights around that area on the lake, staying at a villa. Right now, I can't give you the name of that one villa. We're still kind of looking at that. We've got one that we use and another 2 that we always go between. So Jessica, our reservations manager, is still in the process of letting me know what that's going to be. So you're going to spend 6 nights up at Lake Garda, 2 nights at a castle afterwards, which is a spectacular 5-star castle owned by a family, and then 2 nights in Venice. So the reason this tour is so magical is because it does border Austria and Germany, this part of Italy, so you get to experience the Dolomite, as the Italians say, or the Dolomites. The Dolomite are beautiful, and you can experience a gondola ride up into the mountains. Transportation when you are visiting the little villages around Lake Garda is by boat, which is really interesting and fun. Everybody likes that, and just the stunning scenery of the mountains coming up from the lake. So a lot of the other excursions that you would have on this trip, there is another excursion to Montebaldo, which is another gondola ride up the mountain, and this is off of Lake Garda. And you get to go to Brunello Winery. Who's heard or have had Amarone wine? Amarone wine? Yep. Amarone, Valpolicella. That's the varietals that you'll experience. And this particular winery has been in the family for 4 generations. Sweet, sweet people. So, and I think that's the thing, too, that really makes us different, is you come home having a feeling of knowing more friends. Not only the people that you travel with, but the people that you experience their warmth and hospitality when you go to the restaurants and when you are taken on the different excursions. And our tour leaders, a lot of our travelers keep in touch with these people well after they come home. And you also go home with recipes that you can easily try, and if you ever have any trouble, you can reach the people back and find out how to make that. The fun part about this tour, though, as you're in the north part of Lake Garda, is like I said, the proximity to Austria and Germany. So you're going to have a lot of the hearty food, and you're also going to see some beer up in that region. And then as you come further south towards Veneto, Venice, then you're going to see the food and even the personalities of the people kind of change a little bit. When you're in the north in Lake Garda, things kind of close up around 11 o'clock or so. By the time you get down to Venice, you can order a full dinner by 1 o'clock in the morning and still get dinner. So some of the other foods that are, pertinent to this region, who's had panna cotta? There's panna cotta for dessert. In the spritz, you've seen the different spritz or the sparkling wine. They're known for that in that region also, besides the Valpolicella. Another fun aspect is the fact that this is a microclimate. There are bougainvilleas and oleander, if you can imagine, in parts of this region because it's just this microclimate where it's still warm right there. And it's the northernmost part that lemons can grow in this little area. So, and then in the background, you see the snow-capped mountains. Does anybody have any questions so far? Nope. Okay. We also get to travel to Verona. Now, Verona, as you know, is where Romeo and Juliet was based when Shakespeare wrote that story. And in Verona, what a lot of people don't realize is there is an amphitheater. They don't call it the Colosseum, but it's an amphitheater, very similar in size to the Colosseum in Rome. And there's, unlike the Colosseum in Rome, there still are operas and other shows, live experiences that they have there at the amphitheater, concerts, the opera. So we're going to go see that. Also, when you go to Venice, you're going to have another boat excursion out into Murano and Burano to see where the glass is made and to see where the textiles are made and the linens. And that's just a real pretty boat ride, too, because you actually get to see Venice from the water and out and looking at Venice. And Venice is a real unique city in and of itself if you haven't been there, so you've got time to explore that when you get back. So it's a really nice tour. It's a tour that will immerse you into this part of Italy, and it's not as well known as some of the other parts. Venice obviously is, but the northern Lake Garda area, people hear of Lake Como and George Clooney, right? So, but Lake Garda really is special, and Lake Garda is where a lot of the Italians go to vacation as well. And you're going to hear a lot more Italian speaking there. And the nice part is our tour leaders are with you so that you don't have any issues with any kind of language barrier or feel like you're struggling. They're there to help you. And on that note, it's another nice thing to know that when our tour leaders are with you, they're your resource while you're gone. They take care of everybody. They make sure that when you do have your free time, that if you want to experience something different, go to a different restaurant. They'll make recommendations. They'll make reservations for you. So I really like that. They put their heart and soul in what they do. And I might be asking Andy. We've got Andy Hoxie, who is here. Oh, Andy Hoxie and Judy, if I could say, they went on one of our tours last year. They did the Dolce Vita tour with Alessandro, our tour leader. And Judy was here last night, but we just have Andy here today. But Andy wanted to share a couple things with you guys. So here's Andy.
Yeah, all in all, it was a fantastic trip. I mean, it's probably the best vacation we've ever been on. We've never felt quite so cared for. And we just marveled in everything that we were presented. We'd been to Italy several times. In fact, we spent a month over there several years ago. And I have to say that in that month, we didn't see an eighth of what we saw on this 10-day tour. We went into small farms that made Parmesan cheese and prosciutto and balsamic vinegar, and behind the scenes and friendly. And we ate, and, well, we ate some more, and then we ate some more. Lot of food. The tour guides in the individual cities were very knowledgeable, spoke well, and gave a lot of detail over what the tour guides themselves, our accompanying tour guide, gave us, and he was a constant flow of information. We went in 2 Mercedes vans. The maximum number they take is 11 or 12, and kept the same drivers, kept the same tour leader. And if we'd be driving for some length of time, he would change vans so that he could talk to you about what we're seeing and what we're going to see. And it's a constant flow of information. The hotels couldn't be better. We'd spend 2 or 3 nights at each place, so it's not a constant, get off the bus, unpack the bags, get back on the bus type thing. And those hotels were just marvelous. We went to this one in Montefalco that had, I think, 14 rooms, and we took up 7 of them, I think. And we came back from dinner one night and decided that we were going to have a tour of everybody's room, because each one was so distinctly different. It was just fun. And like Susan said, you get to know and appreciate your fellow travelers. We still are in touch with everybody that we traveled with. Had some over for dinner here the other night, and it's just a nice little family. It's a really, really good tour. I hate to dwell on a negative, but we had a small accident when we were there. One of the girls stepped into a drainage ditch, ended up breaking a part of her leg, and this was in the middle of the day. Our tour leader grabbed the situation, took her and her traveling companion right away to the hospital with one of the vans. Our van driver took over, never missed a beat, knew exactly where we were going, presented this, gave us the information, just covered completely. As for the poor girl that broke her leg, she was cared for by the Italian medical community. She unfortunately had to spend most of the rest of the tour in this terrible boutique hotel with the most fantastic room service. She wasn't sure she was the unlucky one. Anyway, we'll go back to NADA again for another tour. Absolutely, it's a wonderful company.
Well, thank you, Andy. And then the fun part for me and why I love what I do is I was getting pictures from these guys, from everybody's cell phone, the tour leader's cell phone, the traveler's cell phone, and you have to be prepared. If you do go on a Nada's Italy tour, you do become family. So we love you and take care of you. And they were sending pictures back to me, and I was just so sad because I wasn't with them or in a suitcase on this trip, and they're having all this fun without me. But it's just such a joy to see people celebrate milestones or just because they can go on this trip with us. And somebody I talked to this past summer, they said, darn it, you know what? Nada's Italy is addicting. And I said, I'm going to tell people that because it is kind of true. We do have people that come back for many subsequent tours after experiencing the one. And that's the reason that NADA developed our France and Spain tour also. Because people that have traveled with us for 8 and 9 tours said, okay, we love Italy. We've seen a lot of it. Can you please take the same local immersion, tour guide, everything that you do right on your tour? Can we do this in France? So we have, and our tours have been full. And this fall now is the Spain tour. So we don't grow big, we just grow steady, with adding a couple things and just changing just a couple things. And we listen to what our travelers say. That's why some of the hotels have been adjusted or things. And she does go back, like I said, and she will do the inspections and keep up with things. And they really love our people. Even when I went on our tour last May, they didn't know that I was a part of Nada's Italy, not until Alessandro introduced me. They wait for you with open arms at the restaurant. So glad that we came. And the best table in the restaurant is waiting for you when you go to eat. And that was a good question that somebody had last night is, what's included and how much food. And you don't have every dinner. Every dinner is not included. On this particular tour, there are 8 lunches and 6 dinners that are included. And quite honestly, the dinner that's included for that day, I was so full if I had a big lunch that I really wasn't that hungry for the dinner that wasn't included. Or there's plenty of things around. Where we stay are in city centers, and there's accessibility to places for you to walk. We don't go and stay outside the city. When you're in Venice, you're going to stay right on the canal. It's so pretty. And so I think that, and NADA did that too so that people could have their own choice for dinner, to not have to, eat every dinner where it was chosen. But it's really nice. The people that we do patron, they really care about what they do. They care about us being well fed and taken care of. So thanks, Andy. Thanks for that. And actually, I don't know who all is on this call, but we had several other in the communities. Phyllis and Regina, and we had several of you that have traveled with us from Washington, from Arizona, and from California last year. So all thumbs up from all of them about their experience and what it was like. And another thing that we had that was brought up last night, because a lot of people are accustomed to cruises and accustomed to, when you go on a cruise or book a cruise, you have to then make sure that you add your excursions and add your things that you want, and each thing costs to do. There's a charge for that. With our tours, everything is included. As far as all the excursions, the winery, the cooking classes, you're not paying extra for that. It's all inclusive of the trip. Our airfare is not included in the price. Our tours are $5,800. And because you are all Trilogy members, no matter if you go on this tour or any other tour at any other time, because of the partnership, you all get $150 per person off. So the trip would be $56.50 for this. And that was the question, though. They wanted to know if we charged for each of the excursions and things. It's not. It's when you sign up, you get the whole thing. And the other thing that we pay for now, not as started last year, is to pay for the city tax. And a lot of times, clients have to pay for that in other situations. The city tax is something like if you're in Venice or you're in Lake Garda and you're staying overnight, city tax can run anywhere from $20 to $30 per day, 15 to 18 per person, depending on the tax. We pick that up. We pay for that. So that, and actually in some of our literature, we may even still have on there that that it's required that you pay. We're updating our literature and we pay for that. Okay, guys, it's your turn. Does anybody have any questions from the communities based on some of the stuff so far?
So, Susan, it's Sarah here. I have a quick question for you.
Please.
One of the things that you did talk about yesterday during our test presentation was the availability of single rooms. I believe you said there were only 2 single supplements available for this trip. Is that correct?
Correct, and thank you for bringing that up. There are. We welcome single travelers, and I think our tours are really good for single travelers because everybody just gets brought into the fold and enveloped in. But because we use small boutique hotels, we can only take 2 solo travelers, aka somebody that wants their own room by themselves, per tour. So that's a great point, Sarah. And there is a $950 single supplement for that because the the room is not any less than what a double occupancy room is. Our hotels are 4- and 5-star hotels. We get superior room rating, which is the European upgrade. So every room has a view. And so there is no difference in the room. So there is a single supplement for $950. Can she hear?
Yes, thank you so much.
Did you hear that?
I totally did, and thank you for explaining that, Susan. It was very, very helpful. Will you also touch on a topic that we talked about last night, which was travel insurance? Travel insurance.
We offer travel insurance. You don't have to buy it through us, but NADA definitely recommends travel insurance. We're all at that same point where I've got adult kids. I have a mom who's 87. I always buy travel insurance, for whatever reason. So NADA recommends travel insurance. I can help you purchase that. We use a company called TripAssure. I have had clients who have been in the military, and they use USAA. Some people do AAA. Some people belong to Costco and prefer that. It doesn't matter to us, but what matters is that you do have it. And I do like our company that we have used for TripAssure. The situation that Andy spoke to, definitely it helped her when she had that situation. And I had another gentleman that I explained also last night who was on this tour last year, the Venetian Splendors tour. He was 53, and he was absolutely healthy and fine. Saturday morning he wakes up and he has a leg that is cold. And what happened was he had a femoral artery aneurysm, and it ruptured. So again, our tour leaders, magic with their magic powers, got him to the hospital, called 911. He got to that hospital. He had to be transferred to a second hospital by air. Got the surgery, got his wife settled, nothing missed a beat in the rest of the trip for everybody else. But, and I talked to him once he got home after about a month, and I said, so, once I found out he was doing well and he was in good spirits and ready to think about a trip this year or next year, I said, so tell me, how was the food in Italy in the hospital? And he started laughing. He said, oh my God, I had the best food. So, but definitely, they picked up everything for him, for the insurance. And I just had somebody this past fall who it was 8 days prior to their trip departure, and his wife went down and just stepped down on something on a curb, funny, and broke her ankle. So they obviously 8 days prior to the trip had to cancel. Our insurance trip assure covered everything. They got a full refund. So there's that for the trip insurance. Can you remember anything else, Sarah, last night that we talked about besides those things that you really liked?
Those were the two that came to mind, but just continue on, and I'm sure I'll think of something else. I'm never short of questions.
We have a question at Encanterra.
Oh, great.
Okay, go ahead.
Question about gratuity.
Oh, that's a great question. All the gratuity is included within your price of your cost, of the trip cost. The one thing that NADA does do, though, is recommend, because our tour leaders do such a fabulous job, as well as the drivers that are with you the entire time, to tip them, and she has a recommended amount for that. And it's only recommended. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I think everybody pretty much does, and I did, of course, when I went on the Jewels of the Amalfi Coast tour. They dedicate so much of their time. They really do give everything they've got to this tour when they're on it. And that's the only thing. Everything else is included. We still had some people that were on our trip that still felt, as Americans, we're so used to tipping, they still did anyway. So it is truly up to you, but it's not expected. And the gratuity at the hotel, as well as all of the excursions, local guides, everything that you encounter, that's all been taken care of. And the restaurants, everything.
Is the cooking class a demonstration or hands-on? Do you know?
It is. Everybody gets their hands dirty, unless you really don't want to, I guess. But everybody does. Everybody has a hand in it. You get to make something, do something. Everybody has a role. And we had a couple of people that said, I don't really cook so much. I don't like to cook that much. So, but they looked at what they were doing and they said, well, I think I can do that. So after a couple of glass of wine or two, they got into doing the cooking class. So definitely, one of our hallmarks of the tour is the biggest hallmark is you really experience Italy. You experience that area and what you're doing. It's not watching somebody else cook. You get to cook. You get to see how they do the wine. You get to taste the wine. You get to taste lots of wine. And ask questions of the family. And as I said, these are most of the things that we do, they're run by families, and that's where NADA feels that you get the heart of Italy. It's not the commercial, and if you're looking to stay in a big hotel, the Marriott, the Hilton, we don't do that. So it's like that's what makes us different. So yes to your question, you get your hands dirty, and you get to make some great food, and then you get to eat it.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Joan.
Donna?
Joan.
Joan. Hi, Joan.
Yeah.
Is there a Natalie and Jack at one of the out in California? I don't hear anybody. Okay, so I spoke with a Natalie and a Jack on the phone the other day, so I wanted to know if I could see them. I might not be able to. Anybody else that they can?
I have a question regarding transportation. On arrival in Venice, does a tour have somebody designated to pick you up and give you transportation to the hotel?
Yes, sir. That is the one tour. The one thing that we usually, and that's a good point too. What's your name, sir?
Steve.
Steve. Hi, Steve. The one thing that we usually don't include are transfers from the airport to the hotel or the hotel back to the airport upon departure. This is the one tour that upon arrival, there is no cost to you for transfer. We find out when you arrive at the airport, and our tour leader makes the arrangements to then corral all of you and get you to where you need to go for the car to go up to Lake Garda. So we take care of that for you upon arrival. Does that answer your question?
So does everybody, when you arrive then, you are met and basically, as you said, corralled, and you have to wait for other arrivals. When you get a busload, you go back to your destination?
Well, we only have our Mercedes vans, which are really comfortable. So typically, though, there are certain times of arrival. So believe it or not, everybody would probably come in within about an hour and a half of each other, based on arrivals from the States into Venice. But we make sure that, yeah, we take care of you, and if people have to wait, we make sure everybody's waiting happily.
And then transportation back to the airport at the end of the trip?
At the end of the tour, the transportation is not included, but we definitely can arrange that for you. There is an extra charge. We just got a new price range on those, and I'd have to refer to my cheat sheet that's not right in front of me, but it's about $65 to get you back to the airport from Venice. Or 65 euros, I should say.
We have a question here in Twin Mills.
Okay, and we've got a question here.
So roughly how long are the car rides or the van rides,
How long are they?
time-wise?
They're not really long. Usually, that's the one thing, along with not wanting you to be moving every 2 nights somewhere, which is another hallmark of our tours. You're only staying in 3 different places, and the rides that you have are usually under half hour, an hour. You're not riding long at all. The longest day, I believe, is in the middle of the tour when you're at the castle. When you're out there, would be the castle, one of the castle days before you come back to Venice. That's your longer day coming back because you're out all day. So that's pretty much it. But no, you're not spending a lot of time in the van. Let me get this to Andy, or you want to get that to Andy? Okay. Andy's going to attest to that because he was on this trip, or on a trip with us last year.
Yeah, even the trips, they'll break up in the middle someplace and stop for a bathroom break or a cappuccino or espresso or something, and it's almost to the point of, oh, we have to go to the bathroom again. So the rides are well broken up. I think our longest one was going from Bologna to Verona, and that was about 2 hours, and we stopped, I think, twice in that time.
And that's what's nice, too, when you do get to stay, when you go to visit Verona, too, on this particular trip. It does just that. These are great questions, guys. Oh, there's a question.
We have a question in Orlando.
Sure. Go ahead.
We actually have 2. What is the climate like in October?
The temperature is actually really nice. As I said, this is a microclimate, so they have blooming bougainvillea and oleander all year long. It doesn't ever get really cold. The temperatures there are anywhere between 60 and 70, so it's really nice, and it could get down in the low 50s in the evening. It's jacket weather, layers, what I tell people. So that you can take a jacket off, as it does get warmer. So hopefully that helps. You've got the snow-capped mountains in the distance, and of course, if you're going to go up, that's another thought though. If you do go up into the tram on the Dolomite, that little trip is extra, and that is not much money at all. It's just a few euro. But the reason I found out from our tour leader, Leo, who's going to be doing this tour, the reason we don't charge or include it in the trip is because it is kind of a, you guys have seen it. It's like one of those trams that are up on the cable car that go up the mountain really steep. About half the people do not want to do it because they're afraid of heights. So it's not something everybody does, but it's available for you. Same thing with a gondola ride, an actual gondola ride in Venice, in the water, because they call the gondola on the cable, they call that a gondola too. But the actual boat gondola in Venice, if you want to do that, that would be additional. That's like on your own for that one. And there's plenty of time if you want to do that.
We have another question. How many people will you take on the trip? What's the max number?
11. This tour is only for 11 people because we're saving room for a lifestyle director to go with, or Sarah, or however that works out. She's smiling. I know. That's not my call. I don't know who's going on this tour, but there's one it's a Trilogy person, an Explore 360 person will be on this tour. So not only will you have our tour leader, our regional guides, you get to have your community Pied Piper go with you.
Great.
We're sold out here. And then one more question. Are there bathrooms on the vans, in the vans?
No, there are not. But you know what? Quite honestly, with our 6-passenger vans, there is not. They're very comfortable, but if somebody, as Andy said, if somebody has, they do make frequent stops as far as they strategically plan the stops so that the bathroom is available. We're not that hard and fast. If somebody has to use the restroom, it's like, tap, tap, or you tell the tour leader, and we stop. And I think that's another thing that's different, too, and we don't start out early in the morning. We're, if you guys are used to getting up at 6:30 or 7 and have to be ready for a tour, ours start at 9:30 or 10, which is really nice. It gives you time for a walk in the morning or an extra cup of cappuccino. So you don't ever feel like you can't ask if you need to stop when you're on our tours, right? Okay. And we talked about the start time.
We have a question here in terminals.
Go ahead. Okay.
Hi, my name is Bonnie, and you had said that there was 11 people total on the trip. Is that from each location? Or
Total.
11 total?
Total, Bonnie.
Because, we have 11 people right here in this room.
Okay. Well, actually, I've got. There's going to be a race to the finish here, I think. And on that note, let me tell you about that sign up. If you can get, what is that? You guys all have the Explore 360. Oh, here, like I'm showing you. You guys need to see me because I forget you can't see me, so I'm doing things like you can see me here. You've got the flyer for Venetian Splendors. If you go to notisitaly.com, actually Trevor's pulling it up right there for you. If you go to notisitaly.com and you're on the Venetian Splendors, and you go down, and you're going to see right down here, keep going, scroll down, you see the tour. And you're going to click, it says reserve your spot now. You're going to click on that down drop arrow, and you're going to see you guys are right here, Trilogy Private Tour, 5 through 15, 11 spaces. And you're going to add that tour to your cart. There's a green bar. And then when you get all done, you're going to go up in the upper right-hand corner, and there is if you can follow you see this guy? That's where you check out, if you can see that wiggling. So that's where you check out. And the other important thing to note, if you do register online, your credit card will not be charged at the time you register. I first process your registration. I will take off your affiliate amount of $150 for Trilogy. So when you check out, it's only going to say $5,800. And then I'll take that off, adjust that, do what I need to, make sure all the information's correct, and then send it off to our account. And that takes about 3 to 5 days. So I don't want anybody registering and then checking their credit card and then having heart failure that you don't think you're on the trip because your card wasn't charged. So that's how you register, and there's only 11 spots.
Susan, it is Sarah here at Central Services.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi there, and I wanted to let you know Christopher Davis and the team at Monarch are having some microphone problems, so he's texting me questions.
Good.
So he wanted me to let you know that Natalie and Jack, who you've been speaking to, are actually there today. So when you said hello, you just couldn't hear them say hello back.
Oh, good.
So
Hi,
that's
Natalie
exciting.
and Jack. I'm excited.
Thank you.
I know. It was fun. It was fun talking to them last week.
And then also we had a question from that community. Can our guests purchase extensions to the trip?
Absolutely. That's the other part of Not As Italy. We have a wonderful team called the By Design team. They are made up of native Italians, not half like me. They are native Italians, dual citizenship, just like Nada, Martina heads up the By Design team. She is from Padua or Venice area. And Simona is from Sicily, and Betty is from Puglia, which is the heel of the boot. And they work together, and they can customize an extension. We also have on our, they can customize an extension, or they can do full out customized itineraries also. But we often have people that will choose a signature tour, which is what I work with, and this is considered a signature tour, the Venetian Splendors tour. And we often have people who will add an extension. And to give you some ideas for the extensions, if you're on our website, and I'm going to scroll through here to show you, where it says Our Tours right here, you're going to go down, and there's a little spot that says Get Inspired. And if you click on that, you're going to come up with 7 suggestions of places that basically say the soul of tours. These tours are just suggestions. They've created these itineraries. They're 3-night, 4-day extensions to other areas that you might want to visit. Now, you might not want that long, or you might want longer than what we have. And Jessica also, who is our reservations manager, if somebody merely wanted to an extended day in Venice also at the hotel that you're going to be staying at, we can do that too. So we can do anything, full-out itineraries, we can do extensions, and we can do additional nights.
Great. Thank you, Susan.
So there's another question here at Lake Norman.
Can we get a list of the hotels?
Yes. I can give you the list of the hotel from the first part of it and the last part of it. Like I said, I don't have the confirmation for the villa in the center. We're going to be staying at, when you are, and I can get this to all of you guys. I'll figure out the best way to send it, perhaps to you, Sarah, and then you can distribute the information, maybe?
Absolutely.
In an email, but just for now so that you can look. The hotel that we stay at in Venice is called the, I can pull this up right here and show you guys. It is the Hotel Antiche Figuri, and here it is. It's right on the canal. So this is their website. ANTICHEFIGURE. And the castle, Castello Bevilacqua, let me make sure I've got, that's a Romantica. Here is the Castello. This is a 5-star hotel that you stay at. And there's a lot of pictures and things, and this is family owned, and this is a huge place for weddings and events. So you can see the pictures on there. Castello Bevilacqua. There's 8 rooms in the castle. Yep. So there we go, back to the Venetian Splendors tour. And something else, when you're on our website, you can also look at the tour, the individual parts about the tour. You can see the tour highlights right here. And then also the schedule. This will give you the daily schedule and what we do. And then you can also see what's included down there. Something else to consider that I told everybody last night, there are a couple things yet still on this tour that we do. We just don't tell you. Because every one of our tours has some real special things added to it. Nada really wanted to surprise people. So, and she learned early on, she had it on the website, and other people were deciding to take these special little pearls and use them, and then we tried to do it, and it was full. So these are our special things that we put in, that she puts into the tour, that make it just that extra little special surprise for you.
We have a quick question for Orlando.
Okay.
What's just a roundabout price for airfare, just so we have an idea?
Well, I think it's so different. I can tell you what I paid from Charlotte last year, and I didn't get my airfare until about 2 months before we went. We went in May, and I purchased it in March, and it was $1,300 per person, but we chose to do the direct flight because our friends wanted to do that, the direct flight from Charlotte to Rome. If we would have taken $130 flight to New York or to Philly, and then would have gone like a $600 flight over to Rome, in our situation, it would have been better. But I know from here, there's not a direct flight from to Venice. Some of you may have that capability. Charlotte doesn't. Rome's the only direct flight. So you have to get to Venice to start.
Okay, I have another question. I'm Marie from Orlando.
Hi, Marie.
Hi. My question is about Nada's Italy per se.
Yes.
I know it's a small company. My concern would be if there was something like supplier default or, a problem with the solvency of the company. I know it's your employer and you've been there several years, but also being in the travel business, I know some very large companies have gone out of business and people have been left without their money. So I just wanted to be sure if you didn't take trip insurance, that NADA is covered by like the U.S. Tour Operators Association or something like that.
Absolutely. We belong to that.
Okay,
we belong
great.
to that. We do. That's a good question. We do. And I'll tell you right now, we are booking tours right and left. That isn't going to happen, at least this year. It hasn't. She really has been around since 2003. In and around Charlotte, but this is where she started in Charlotte, and she now lives in Delray Beach, and she comes back every 6 months or so, or not 6 months, pardon me, every 6 weeks, and we Skype and talk just about every day. There is a huge communication. Everybody that works with her, with me, we're so dedicated to what we do. We love what we do, and I think that's just it. We all come to this having had various careers. Various past, and this is where we all landed, and we bring all of our strengths that we've done previously to this. I was a neuro ICU nurse. I was a neuro ICU nurse, a recovery room nurse, and a research nurse for years. And now I feel like I'm still taking care of people, just in a much better way, different way. I love people, I love what I do, and I'm not the only one there. We all feel the same passion. And I think that is what you get with us. You get detail, you get the personal touch. And it's just that's how Nada started out. And she is true to her word. We are all, our word means so much. So we're not going anywhere. We just started the Spain tour. We're not going anywhere. She's grown each year. So, and I think knowing that we're a member of the tour operator group, it means something. And we also do a lot to giving back, too. We're really big here in Charlotte and with the Heartball and Heart Association. And she does a lot of philanthropic work that way as well, giving back. And the fact that we are in Charlotte is where we started out. We are in all 50 states. We have clients in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada. It's just funny to see how our reach is, and I'll ask people, how did you find out about us? And they'll say online. Andy just gave me it just went away. Andy found some airfare for us, Andy Hoxie. Right now, it looks like, what is that, 8?
That's on kayak, so there's some.
So he was looking on kayak, so it looks like a $12.49 airfare from Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte to Venice. Round trip per person. So I guess it depends on where you all are starting out from, and then I'll tell you, Charlotte's the most expensive airport, right? I mean, it's crazy. So I'm sure everybody else is cheaper than we are. Any other questions here in Lake Norman? You guys have any?
Orlando has to jump off the call, but we just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time out of your beautiful afternoon to spend with us. We appreciate it. If you have questions, please call, email, or text me. That phone number for the 466-2595, I will answer to a text. I will respond to an email or a phone call. And that's for all of you. And you can look at the various nuances of the trip. I touched on some of the highlights. that I thought were really worth talking about. It's like I said, it's the most diverse in terms of geography. It's the most diverse in terms of architecture. You see Roman influence, medieval influence, and just, the sheer mountains on down. And then you get to end it in beautiful Venice. And then you get to go to Harry's Bar and have a Bellini. I know, isn't that fun? Anything else, guys? If the tour should fill up, which I think it's going to very quickly, we'll talk about options after that. Let's just look at this one first. Sarah and I have discussed a couple things. So if this tour fills up and you want Venetian Splendors, we'll talk about that after. She'll send out an email to update everybody. Yep. Any more questions, guys?
So, Susan, it's Sarah, and I know that we're getting ready to sign off, but I want to thank everybody who was able to attend today. This has been our first Club Connect with new video conferencing equipment, and I think it's gone really, really well. We have a couple of little bugs to work out, but also if you're living in Phoenix, after last night's presentation, I hopped on American and could find a round-trip flight out of Phoenix for $13.74 without much fretting about it, so that might give you an idea there. But we will certainly be sending out an announcement, a link to the presentation to all of our communities and those who were not able to join us today, so that everybody has this fabulous opportunity. And Susan, I really want to thank you for your partnership. The tours that were provided last year for our members came back with such great reviews, as you have folks there in your community talking about right now. So thank you for everything. We really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor. It really is an honor and a privilege to be able to do this and to get to share this with everybody at the communities. And I just feel like what you do as well is so meaningful within the communities and what you're trying to promote. That's why I just feel so at home here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. We hope that if you have questions, ask your lifestyle director, shoot Sarah a note, shoot Susan a note, and we look forward to filling this trip as quickly as possible. Come on in, Kintera. All 11 of you can go sign up right now, and we'll have the trip filled up.
There you go. All of you. There's room. There's room. Bye. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks again so much. You guys, thank you for coming.